Mm. If you'd like, you can join me with eyes closed, with an upright spine. I'll just take some time to settle in and ground here. We could take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep sigh through the mouth. We can do 2 more of those. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it out. Last one, deep inhale. And release. Just spend just a few seconds here noticing the inflow and the outflow of the breath, the sensations that come just through breath, not needing any descriptors, any meanings behind the breath. Getting ourselves to a space where we simply are just breathing, and that is all. If there's any activity in the mind, that's okay. Just doing what's within your abilities to bring your attention back to the breath, the sensations, knowing that the sensations are true and the chatter in the mind is not. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritam Gamaya Shanti Shanti Shanti. And you can continue keeping your eyes closed if you'd like, continuing to put all of your energy, all of your focus into simply receiving right now. And today we're titling it Devotion, the Shortcut to Direct Experience. And a couple of quotes I got here. According to the law of nature, wherever there is an awakening of a new and stronger life, there it tries to conquer and take the place of the old and the decaying. Devotion is the key that unlocks this new life, transforming the individual from within. Swami Vivekananda. When we touch the present moment deeply, we touch the divine. Devotion is not about worshiping a distant deity, but about recognizing the sacred in every breath, every step, and every smile. Thich Nhat Hanh. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. This is devotion, a surrender to the flow of life, allowing the divine to move through you. Rumi. Lastly, devotion means you are an absolutely open doorway to life. Sadhguru. So, devotion is acting in a way that is devoid of you. When you do something with devotion, you're acting in a way that it doesn't consider on any level any aspect of what you might call you, right? We call it the ego self. And devotion is the ultimate surrender, a complete dissolution of this ego self. And I say that, lowercase self, right? We have the capital S self to reference our ultimate nature, and that's what we really bring out when we live with devotion. The lowercase self dissolves to bring rise to the uppercase self. So devotion is a state where there's zero friction between our actions and the will of the divine. And how can there be zero friction when there's nothing to rub between action and the energy driving it, right? In this way, devotion is effortless. There is a grace and efficiency to it that others just dream of possessing. The trouble is that these dreamers want the physical benefit of devotion without getting the source of friction out of the way. So imagine a brake pad rubs against the tire of a car, produces friction so that it can stop in a controlled manner. These dreamers are driving down the highway with the e-brake on and both pedals at full throttle. You burn out trying to do this. All over the world, all sorts of religions and customs have to devotionless acts of devotion. Just rituals on repeat with no sense of devotion. But actually, in devotion's place, there's this sense of obligation. So it's not frictionless. It's actually kind of transactional, right? They're attempting to barter with God. And God has no need for a fatted calf or incense or sweet words. God responds to the inner workings that drives action. Two people can be doing the same act, one out of devotion and another out of obligation. And grace will only find its way to the devotee, one who's acting out of devotion. Because only when this space has been cleared of any sense of you, of separation, can grace find its way to you. When I contemplate on these talks, I don't do it out of some scholarly fascination. There's no desire to sound verbose and profound. These talks come about because the words just pour out of me in this way. There's no friction when I'm putting together these talks. If I carry friction with me during the week, I simply improvise during the talk in an effort to keep the purity of it intact. It's truly not worth putting anything together at all if I'm coming from the place of obligation. So I just wait until I've welcomed devotion into this space, because devotion brings with it a certain energy that it's the most pleasant kind of energy, truly. You can find thousands of storylines, fact or fiction, that speak to the different dimensions of energy when we're acting out of devotion. When the energy the body and mind expends, clinging to this sense of self and a desire for survival is used for exterior purposes, the action is elevated to an energetic output that simply cannot be matched. The maximum amount of energy has been used. None of it has been lost to friction. It's just pure focusing on the task at hand in this way. So it produces the most button of fruit. I've got a STEM background, if you didn't know. So I had to take physics classes for engineering majors. And while we're still grasping the fundamentals of dynamics, friction and air resistance were always assumed to be non-existent. How wonderful those problems were in hindsight. It got real tough when you incorporated friction. To live in devotion can feel like a scary thing. The sense of self and need for survival developed for a very important and evolutionary purpose. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect in design. It's just that if we want to live life in a way that brings out maximum pleasantness for ourselves, it just gets in the way at a certain point. As I was getting certified as a yoga instructor, my guru was a philosophy major, and what's worse is he was a German philosophy major. You know, the German people are very intellectual and a rigid breed, so philosophical discourse was like reading directly from a textbook with this guy. And thankfully he was saved from that life. He found his way to the path of devotion, of bhakti yoga as we call it, because he had so much love for his wife, and she helped him redirect that love towards life itself through her own practice of bhakti, of devotion. When talking about his experience with devotion, he said that he always viewed bhakti as a path for other people, not for him. He was a buttoned-up, opinionated German philosopher, damn it. Like, he didn't have any use for that. In fact, he thought devotion was a cop-out for those who were just looking to have fun instead of taking all of this God stuff seriously. And jnana yoga, which is the path of knowledge and study, felt much more comfortable to him with where he was. So he went with that, and karma yoga, which is the path of action. And eventually he hit a wall. It just led to a lot of frustration for him. The pursuit of knowledge had lost its luster, and it was becoming mentally taxing taking action in ways he thought was aligned with the practice. So he started to open himself up to the idea of devotion at this time. Just a little bit of devotion, and just lights turned on instantly. The cosmos opened up for him, and he claimed that devotion wasn't some whimsical, careless, or fanatical cop-out to, like, quote-unquote real spiritual work. He called it actually a shortcut to direct encounter with the divine. See, devotion is easy access to the divine because in its nature is the requirement that the one thing stopping complete union must be eradicated. We can say and do the nicest things, but we're still standing in between God and action on earth if they're not coming from this sense of devotion. Similarly, others will be compelled to take action we might find incredibly distasteful when in fact it is their loving devotion that drives it. They kind of have no say in the matter when you think about it this way, as this dissolution of self. So another story, while I was staying at an ashram, the volunteers had from 5:30 to 8:30 a.m. for our spiritual practice in the temple. And the first 30 minutes of that was all of us chanting together, which if you attended the last call, well, not the last call, it was about a month ago on chanting, you hopefully have some appreciation for the profundity of chanting. But anyway, some of the volunteers would just shout in the moment of silence, or they would put like a silly amount of emphasis on one syllable. I remember one guy, Om Namah Shi. It was always this Shi. And it was so distracting, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Like, my choir background just wanted everyone to sit and be in unison and on time. But how can I be devoted in my practice if I'm spending energy fussing over what, this I wants? That friction has found its way into the practice and is stopping me from fully experiencing grace. In devotion, there's just no judgment. There's no room for it. It simply cannot exist because you are so preoccupied seeing the wonder in life. Every little aspect, when there is no, you, this ego self involved, it's just this beautiful blossoming of life in billions of different ways. It's endless entertainment when you can recreate beauty in a billion ways. So let's not fixate on looking devoted, acting devoted, or thinking devoted. Let's just get out of our own way and dissolve ourselves in what we are doing completely. Every thought, word, and deed will naturally be of devotion if we dissolve our sense of self through these things. Once dissolved, we'll simply experience the indescribable ecstasy of grace.